Hello everyone. Today, I'll introduce my meaningful experience in my school life. The Open Lab Experiment Project. Through the Open Lab Experiment Project, I could learn the spirit to challenge, as well as the facts about typhoon. In Korean geography class, the teacher explaining the dangerous semicircle said that it was named a dangerous semicircle because it is impossible to sail in the right side of a typhoon. Immediately, a question appeared in my head. Why is a typhoon so strong that even a ship cannot sail? But the teacher gave me no more detail. And naturally, the question faded as I focused on the main contents of the class. Soon after, several powerful storms, typhoons, hit this country one after another. And again, the question became clear as I saw the news that trees were uprooted, which seemed unlikely to move even a leaf. So I searched for the energy source of a typhoon through the internet and found that the latent heat caused by condensation of rising air and water vapor from high water temperature result in the intensity of a typhoon. But it was not easily grasped that the power of typhoon comes from mere 27 degrees Celsius of the sea temperature, not 99 degrees Celsius. So I wanted to check the specific correlation coefficient between the sea temperature and the intensity of the typhoon. I decided to participate in an open lab experiment project with my close friend and conducted an experiment related to this curiosity. We made an artificial swirl with fan and dry ice smoke, also with specially customized box. We placed water at the bottom of the swirl at different water temperatures, and we checked the wind speed of the swirl at each temperatures. Unfortunately, we failed. We couldn't find any significant correlation between those two factors. I wondered why we failed, and in the end, I came to a conclusion that the one we made was too small to make a noticeable change in the wind speed compared to the real typhoon. Now, I'm planning to find the answer through the another way, literature studies. Despite the failure of this experiment, I could learn, I could practice conceiving an experiment which is one of the main qualities that psychologists should possess. Thank you for listening.
During my high school years, I think the words that can explain my effort for my studies are will and effort. During my freshman year, I had a relatively worse grade than in my second grade. In order to achieve good results in a particular field, I think we need to build deeper parts based on basic content. However, I thought my grades were not good because I lacked basic skills for major subjects. In this situation, I thought the best effort that I could do was to build basic skills and to participate in school activities related to major subjects and express my will to have interest in them. Based on this idea, I learned the concept by studying major subjects, and I was attracted to maths that solved the difficult problem through continuous thinking. So naturally, interest in maths increased, so I invested more time than other subjects. As maths is the subject that requires more basics than other subjects, when I was in first grade, I joined school math classes for beginner, and I accumulated my basic skills by solving problems that required concepts. During my spring and winter vacation of the first grade, I continued to study math I learned in the first grade, and I studied the basics and in-depth content of math to learn in the second grade, and I made the most intensive effort by using gradation study method. As a result of this effort, my math grade improved a lot, which led to a greater interest in math. Since then, I participated in humanity academic program, which was conducted under the theme of environmental issues in Jeju Island, to explore whether expansion of Bijarimlo would be economically beneficial. Through this, I have developed interest in economics little by little. Among the various subjects, the economy is most closely related to math, which led me to think about math that I was interested in, which made me change my career into an economic field.
My high school life was doubt and proof. While studying with this attitude, I learned talent spirit. In mathematics too, I felt heavy and uncomfortable because I thought that an expression of going endlessly close was fake, and I had to accept properties of limit without proof. So, studying an exact definition of limit, I found that limit was defined by epsilon delta argument. Through searching, I learned an exact definition of convergence and divergence and became capable of proving properties of limit. Though others might just accept intuitive types, I was suspicious of this once again. However, I couldn't find proofs, so I had to prove this by myself. At first, I worried whether I could prove this, since it was hard to even understand what was written. But I tried it. The type of calculation between convergence and divergence was most difficult to prove. Unlike other types, it's not proved well by epsilon delta argument. So, After several hours of deliberation, I reached reduction to absurdity, which was a method to deny conclusion and find contradiction from supposition. Eventually, I proved that limit value didn't exist. Though I started to prove these things just because of curiosity, during proof, I swore that I would prove this at any cost to myself. Finally, when I accomplished it, I felt very proud. While proving with doubt, I set up a goal to prove all that I would learn. Repeating doubt and proof, I could find association between things seemingly unrelated. Once there was a problem of differentiating an identity. I felt doubtful because if an equation was differentiated, both sides became the same. So I took limit on both sides of the identity and used definition of differential and then asked math teacher whether it was correct. The teacher answered that taking limit on both sides might be a problem itself. After long deliberation, by epsilon delta argument that I learned before, I proved that even if one took limit on both sides of the identity, both sides remain same. Through this, I proved that it was possible to differentiate the identity. Like this, by what I proved before, I could solve ever-growing doubts, and these processes were very worthwhile to me. While continuously agonizing, I could find association between limits and convergence between limits and differential of the identity. And in this respect, I greatly experienced a mathematics attraction. Thank you for listening.
I think studying is a process, endless learning, exploration, and continuing to achieve better results. When I was in the first grade, I committed a team-specific research project, and the news at the time was covered with the keyword "the real culprit of the Hwasong serial murder case." After seeing this, I questioned how much more advanced modern technology than the past and explored the psychological characteristics of the criminal at the time, the degree of development of science and technology, and the case of China similar to that incident. The real culprit in the case could not be charged with the expiration of the statute of limitation, which made me wonder why it was impossible to trace the crime of murder. Just in time, I learned about the principle of non-lawfulness in the second grade politics and law class, which reminded me of question I had when I was a freshman. So I started my exploration around the question of is it reasonable to apply the principle of non-lawfulness to serious crimes such as murder. While conducting the search, I came to a conclusion that my personal truths were reflected a lot, but I found out why I punishment due to of expiration of the statute of limitation. I thought it would be efficient to gather friends who think like me to explore and ask questions, to build knowledge while doing career exploration activities. So I made a club and I took charge of the club manager this year. Thank you for listening.
Good afternoon, everyone. I was interested in life science, so I enjoyed the STEAM club, which is a life science club, and I could learn a lot of things about life science through the club. First of all, I was interested in athlete food because I was suffering from athlete food during the process of selecting the experiment topic. Also, during investigation, we are able to confirm that hardwood vinegar was effective for athlete food, and we wondered if it was true. From this motivation, we selected the topic treating athlete food using hardwood vinegar, and we conducted experiment on it. As we were conducting this experiment, at first we didn't get result what we wanted, and we also didn't get result from repeated experiment. So we thought that should we finish the experiment in an incomplete state, but after that we kept thinking about the problem we had in conducting the experiment and what it needed to improve them. Also, we are able to get what we are hoping for after we got feedback from teacher. By doing this experiment, I could learn basic things such as germiculture and sterilization that we must know about in life science experiments, and these things helped me to do other life science experiments in my high school lives. Based on these experiments, I participated STEAM camp, ecological course, and ecological exploration hosted by school. I could experience various natural environments in which I live by visiting 비자림, 물량아리, 용눈이 오름, 동백동산. I could know that although 물량아리 and 용눈이 오름 are similar in structure, but like 용눈이 오름, 물량아리 has a pit layer, so the water becomes pulled in 물량아리. Like this, I could identify the unique characteristics of each nature. And as I listened to the commentary of commentators at each nature, I was able to see how the knowledge of life science was applied to the real world. Furthermore, I planned the experiment in which I analyzed the soil of 물량아리 and I compared it with the soil of our school. Thank you.